Good morning, a pleasant good day to everyone. As promised, this is now a separate presentation about one of the controversial provision of the revised penal code, which is the rape, formerly classified under crimes against chastity, now found under the Title 8 Crimes Against Person as the last articles, to Article 266-A to -D. Okay, it was amended by Republic Act 8353, otherwise known as the Anti-Rape Law of 1997. Once more, this is Mr. Ariel D. Manlusok, the director of the ADMRC Review Center here at Jordan Plains, Novaliches, Quezon City. Okay, so let's start now by discussing first the transition of rape. Okay, so let's now discuss the transition of rape. Rape, as I said a while ago, was originally a crimes against chastity. It is found under Title 11 of the Book 2 of the Revised Penal Code, no, together with seductions, abductions, acts of lasciviousness, and others. Okay, but it is found originally under Article 335, okay, as the rape through sexual intercourse. So you notice there is only one kind of rape before, and that is rape through sexual intercourse, okay, in which the only offender is male or a man. So only male or man can be charged of rape before under the old law. Okay, and the victim is always a female or a woman. Okay, so that's the old setup. But from there, due to Republic Act 8353, the rape now is transferred to Title 8 of the Crimes Against Person. Okay, so this is an example of the exemption to the Book 1 rule under Article 10, that if there are special law created, it is in conflict with the general law, the special law shall prevail. No, one of the exemption is if the special law specifically provides that it is supplementary to the revised penal code, and in that case, we follow the revised. The special law is supplementary. So this is an example of that exemption to the Article 10 of the revised penal code, wherein the Republic Act 8353 did not repeal the revised penal code. It only supplement the revised penal code, and thereby resulting to the transfer of the crimes against person from Title 11 to Title 8. Okay? So because of 8353, there are now two kinds of rape in general. That is rape through sexual intercourse, which is the part 1, discussed under Article 266-A paragraph 1, where the usual offender is the female is male and the usual victim is the female. So this is the original Article 335 transferred to 266-A paragraph 1. Now what is the addition? The addition is the paragraph 2, okay, which is the rape through sexual assault. Now, this is the very reason why rape now is a crime against person. Why? Because as you can see, now rape can be committed by a male or a female or whatever gender you have. Okay? So it is committed by any person, and the victim now can be also any person. Okay? So that is the story behind the transition of rape from chastity to crimes against person. Now, let's discuss the details. Okay. So, Article 266-A, Paragraph 1, rape through sexual intercourse. Very important in criminal law that we should know the elements of the crime. Okay? Because if the elements are complete, then the crime is truly justified as that specifically stated in the revised penal code. So, again, the original rape through sexual intercourse, it has the following element. No, the offender must be a man, and the offender has sexual or carnal knowledge of a woman. Okay, but to make it rape, the carnal knowledge must be done in any of the following circumstances. Now, take note, these are circumstances. So, it doesn't need that all of this should exist. No, any one of these enumerated circumstances will be sufficient to make the act as rape. Okay? The act of sexual intercourse. So the first is by using force or intimidation. Okay? The second one is when the woman is deprived of reason or otherwise unconscious. The third is by means of fraudulent machination or grave abuse of authority. So that is the usual kind of rape. We will discuss that one at a time later on. Then the fourth one is the exemptional case, or rather the other special type of rape. No, this is the rape committed against a woman who is under 12. Now take note, under 12, which means 11 below. Okay, or demented. No, those who suffer from mental deficiencies. Okay, so the law is clear about this. No, that this is what you call statutory rape. Now, why it is called statutory rape? For a simple reason that it is a rape that even if there is consent by the offended party, the law said it is rape. No, statutory, which means law made. No, it was made rape by the law, even though consent is present. Okay, so let's discuss them one at a time. Okay, so the first circumstance is the concept of rape by force and intimidations. Okay, so we have to know the basic rule about rape. No, according to the case of People versus Soriano, this is a jurisprudence. The mere contact of the male penis with the woman's vagina is referred to as rape by sexual intercourse. So dito po nanggaling yung concept ng rape through or bisexual intercourse. So definitely it's between a penis and a vagina. Okay? Then another, penetration, even partial or slightest penetration is enough. So the law said even a slight penetration or partial. So it doesn't require that the entire penis be able to fully penetrate the vagina of the woman. Okay? So slightest penetration. So the moment the penis touch the vulva, no, or the labia of the woman, that is already constituted as a consummated act of rape. Okay, as long as it is against the will of the woman and other circumstances that we have mentioned a while ago, or that we will be discussing more. Then proof of emission is not necessary. So it is not important that there was a emission, no? Or in medical term, we call it ejaculation. Meaning, hindi mahalaga, hindi importante na nakaraos o nakatapos yung perpetrator. So the presence of semen is not necessary, although that is one evidence or circumstantial evidence that can be important. Okay, but it is not necessary to prove a crime of rape. And even if the attacker's penis merely touched, as I said, the external portion of the female genitalia, according to the case of People versus De La Peña, that is considered as rape. Okay? What else? Circumstances under which rape is committed. So let's begin with paragraph A. Ano sabi dito? By using force or intimidations. So when we say force, this is referring to physical, no? Physical force. So just like when you grab a woman and the woman is still young and you're a bigger man, so you grab him very firmly and you use some force, physical force, so that she cannot resist, and that also causes fear on her part, that makes you accomplish the act that is considered as an act, okay, of rape. The other one is intimidation, like when you point a gun, you point a knife to a woman and said, huwag kang kikilos, or do not resist or else I will kill you, no? So you were able to perpetrate the rape, you were able to penetrate, that is considered as rape. Okay? Although the jurisprudence said the force or the violence, okay, necessary in rape must be something that's naturally a relative term one, no? Because this is depending on age. It may also depend on size or build of the body of the victim and the offender, the strength of the parties, and their relation to each other. So, what does it mean? It doesn't require that in order to constitute the rape with the use of force, the force must be very strong and truly irresistible. Okay? Because sometimes, even if the offender did not use too much force and irresistible force, really, if the victim is very young age, no, if the victim is slim or small, somehow the fact that the offender is bigger and stronger, that will already be enough to fear, no, the victim, and to submit to whatever the offender wants to commit. Okay, but the law said also that these other factors may not be also be necessary if there is a relation to each other, no, like in many cases wherein a stepfather, okay, an uncle, no, take advantage of the nephew or niece, okay, the grandfather take advantage of the grandson or the granddaughter rather, or the stepfather take advantage of the stepdaughter who is still under their custody or care. So the law said that can be replacing, no, the other forms of element under the element of force or violence. Okay. Then moral ascendancy or influences, as I've said, exercised by the accused over the victim substitute for the element of what? Physical force or intimidation. Okay, that's in the case of people versus Bazona, or even in the case of people versus Maglente. Okay? Now, next, when the woman is deprived of reason or otherwise unconscious. Okay. Generally speaking, what makes the sexual intercourse or the carnal knowledge a rape is because it is against the will of the woman. Okay. But in this paragraph B, it is still a rape, although consent is not material. Why? Because the woman has no chance or opportunity to give for a consent. Okay, why? Because the she is either deprived of reason, like in the case of mental derange or mental deficiency, or unconscious, just like a woman that is very sleep, no, meaning sleeping tight, so she just noticed that something is penetrating on her organ when she was awake, so that is already constituted as a rape, okay, because the act was done even before the consciousness of the woman. Okay, so as I said here, the victim has no will, no, he has no power, she has no power to give consent or to determine what is happening. Okay, the second one, sexual intercourse with insane woman, is considered rape in the case of people versus Lyson. Even if the woman gave her consent, it's still considered be a rape somehow because of deprived of reason, meaning the woman is not in the right mind to give her consent. Okay. Third, feeble-minded, no, idiots. So these are kind of mental, what you call this, retardness. Okay, abnormalities or deficiency are sufficient in order to constitute a rape, even if consent is given. Okay, in the case of people versus dying, as decided by our Court of Appeals. Okay. Then, carnal knowledge or coitus. So sometimes examiner uses the term coitus instead of carnal knowledge, carnal act, in order to confuse our examinees, while the offended party was asleep. Okay, that was given or explained in the case of people versus Caballero. Okay. Third, circumstances by means of fraudulent machination or grave abuse of authority. Okay, so let's start with the first part, no, fraudulent machination. So every time we use the word fraud, it connotes what? The use of deceit, no, panlilin lang, No? So fraudulent machination is ito yung paggamit ng mga mapanlinlang o mapanlansing pamamaraan, no? In order that the woman will be put in a situation that she cannot anymore uh, resist, or she cannot defend herself from the abuses. Okay, grave abuse of authority. So this is being done by people with authority, like public officers, those who are in the military, police, or other law enforcement services. Public officers who are having public positions, they might use their power in order to take advantage, and so that the victim might end up useless of resisting, or simply just ignore what is being done by the perpetrator. Okay? So that is the third circumstance. Now, like for example, a policeman, okay, who arrested a woman and said, if you want to be released, then you have to accept or to allow me to do whatever I want, or else I will put you behind bar, or something like that. Okay? So there are so many cases of this, no, abuse of authority. I'm not just referring to policemen, because we know there are good and well-performing policemen, dedicated law enforcer, but somehow there are few people there who are blemishing the reputation of the noble profession. When the woman is under 12, okay? So as I said, the word is under 12. So hindi po kasama yung 12. It should be 11 below. Now, here, consent is immaterial. Why? Because the law said, in the case of People versus Villamor, this statutory rape does not requires the consent of the offended party. Okay? With or without the consent, even if the victim allow the carnal knowledge, being a woman of that certain age who is incapable of discerning right or wrong and its possible consequences, the law gave favor to the victim. Okay? So just like if you have sex with a 9-year-old, and even though the 9-year-old a girl allow it, then that is considered as rape automatically. Okay, under the fourth circumstances, and this is a special form which is called statutory rape. Now, others might be asking, sir, what about 12 years old? Okay, once the woman reached 12 years old and it is consented, then the law might that we might apply here can be a crime of seduction, okay? Because seduction also has the element of sexual intercourse or carnal knowledge, but it is applicable the moment the woman is already 12 to 17. Although there is a error, not typographical error or mistake in our revised penal code in article 337 and 338, because if you read the revised, the codal, the word of the law is over 12. So that is corrected by our Supreme Court. It should not be over 12, okay? It should be 12 but under 18. So that's a very, very obvious error in our revised penal code that people should take note, because if you did not know the jurisprudence, then you will be misled by the codal. Okay? So I'm not saying that don't read the codal. I'm just saying that there are some errors in our revised which are corrected by our courts. So please, if you have time, read some annotated books. Okay? So that's the concept. Or the crime can also be falling under the acts of lasciviousness, okay? If it is applicable. Or in the case of child abuse under Republic Act 7610, because the concept of child abuse is applicable for any child which is who are rather below 18. Although alam natin that there's a special child which applies to those who are mentally ill, mentally retarded, and those who are even they are 18 and above, but because of their conditions, they cannot fully take care of themselves. They are still covered by the law on child abuse. Okay. Now, stages of rape. Rape is considered as a material crime, no, because it accepts of stages as differentiate from formal crimes where there are no stages, no. But in the latest jurisprudence, there is no more rape prostrated stage. Okay, so there are only two stages of rape that we have to talk about, and that is consummated, and the other one is attempted. Okay, so thus, no matter how slightest is the penetration, as decided in the case of People versus Soriano, as long as no the penis touch the labia of the woman, that is considered as a consummated case. Okay? There was a time na nagkaroon ng prostrated rape. That is because the victim is too young and the offender is too old, but that is already abandoned by our Supreme Court. Okay? Now, in attempted rape, we have to be careful because we have to prove that there is the intent to penetrate, no, to have carnal knowledge. Because if we cannot prove that contention or that element, the crime might only just fall under the case of acts of lasciviousness, no, under Article 336. But if the victim is a minor, that will be a case of acts of lasciviousness in relation. Take note, I didn't say with child abuse. I said in relation to child abuse because we cannot make a complex crime combining revised penal code and special law. Okay, we only use the term in relation to. Okay, or in cases of rape of minor, the offender can select either charge it with a rape under the revised or rape under the child abuse. But if it is statutory rape, we apply the revised penal code. Okay. Now, another pointer, no, to take note. Character of the offended woman is immaterial in rape. Okay? So, if the woman, for example, is a prostitute or working in a nightclub or whatever, okay, the woman is no longer virgin, the woman had sexual intercourse with several or other men, that is not a factor that is to be used against the woman, okay? Because what is the point here? Regardless of the character of the woman, as long as if the sexual intercourse is against her will or there was the use of force, intimidation, or violence, grave abuse of authority, machinations, and other, then that is still considered a rape. Okay? In case of multiple rape, no, by two or more persons or offender, okay, that is considered as counted. So, like for example, in the case of People versus Alfaro, no, if X was holding the hand of the victim while Y is doing the carnal knowledge, and later on they exchange position, it is now X committing the carnal knowledge against the woman. Both of them are liable for two counts of rape. Okay? And now, since rape is crimes against person, in the case of People versus De La Torre, the husband raped the housemaid while the wife is holding the hand of the maid. Both the husband and the wife were convicted for two counts of rape. No? Okay, that is the effect of rape being a crimes against person now. Okay, under the revised penal code as amended, rape is punished by death when, although alam natin that death is now prohibited by Republic Act 9346, so that will go down to reclusion perpetua. So once the rape is committed, and in occasion of the rape, homicide is committed, the penalty for the crime should be death. Okay, so this is an example of this is also one example of what we call special complex crime, no, wherein on occasion of a certain crime, another crime was executed or was committed, or by reason of that crime, that no matter how many crime is committed here, the penalty is only one. Okay, so this is also one of the exemption in the rule of in criminal procedure in filing a case, no, under the principle of duplicity of offense rule. The general rule is we only filed one offense in one complaint. But if it is a special complex or a complex crime, the law allows the filing of several offenses because they only carry one penalty. Okay? Ito po. Aside from this homicide that happens by reason or occasion of rape, there are other circumstances that will qualify rape. No, take note. Rape can be qualified. And what are these 10 circumstances mentioned under paragraph B? Okay, so these are the qualifying circumstances when the victim is under 18, okay, And the offender is a parent, ascendant, so there is a moral ascendancy within the third civil degree. Okay? Then next, when the victim is under the custody of police or military authorities. So the violator here is a person with authority or has a custody over the child or the minor or the woman or the victim. Then when the rape is committed in full view of the spouse, parents, any of the children or relative within the third degree of blood relationship, or we call it consanguinity. Okay? So in revise in the book one, this is the aggravating called ignominy, no? But in the case of rape, it is already considered as a qualifying aggravating circumstances. Another, number four, we have the victim is a religious engaged, like when offender raped a nun, okay, or anyone who is serving in a religious sect, so that is considered as a form of qualifying. Then we have the sixth one when the victim is below 7. So mas malupit ito, no? Kasi yung ating statutory rape is only under 12, but this one is even lower than that. Okay? That is below 7. Next, we have when the offender known that he is inflicted with HIV or AIDS. So nadamay pa yung victim, okay? Next is when committed by any member of the PNP, law enforcement agencies, armed forces of the Philippines, and paramilitary institutions, okay? Including penal institution, yung ating mga Bucors and BJMP, no? When the offender knew the pregnancy of the offended party, so buntis na, ni-rape pa, okay? Then when the offender knew of the mental disability, emotional disorder, so this is taking advantage of the condition, no, the stress or other disability of the offended party. Now let's go to the second part. And what is the second part? The rape through sexual assault. So what are the elements now? The element is the offender commits an act of sexual assault. And the sexual assault is committed by any of the following means. Ano po yung mga pamamaraan? There are two. One, by inserting his penis into another's mouth or anal orifice. So, ipinasok po sa bibig o sa anus ng victim ang penis. So, here, it's still clear that the offender should be a man and the victim is any gender. Okay? And it is against the will of the person. The other one is inserting any instrument. And take note, instrument or any object. In the case of People versus Soriano, the Supreme Court held that it also includes the finger, no? Because the finger, although it is a part of the human body, it is something foreign to the body of another person that is now classified as rape, no? Once you insert that finger to the either anus or vaginal opening of a victim. So in the paragraph B, the victim here can be man or a woman, but the offender here can be any gender, definitely. Okay? Because the instrument is used or object. Then, the same, it will be a rape if it is done in any of the four circumstances already discussed a while ago as enumerated in paragraph 1, okay, of the article 266-A. Okay? So what are some of the conditions? Whenever rape is committed with the use of deadly weapon or by two or more persons, no? In the rape against through sexual assault, the penalty shall be prison mayor to reclusion temporal. So medyo mababa po ng kaunti ang penalty sa rape through sexual assault. Okay? When by reason or occasion of rape, the victim must become insane, then the penalty is only the maximum is reclusion temporal. When the rape is attempted and homicide is committed, then the penalty is quite higher. That is reclusion temporal to reclusion perpetua. When by reason or occasion of rape, homicide is committed, then the maximum penalty of reclusion perpetua shall be imposed. Okay? Then reclusion temporal shall also be imposed if the rape is committed with any of the 10 aggravating. Yung diniscuss po natin kanyang 10 qualifying circumstances under the paragraph B. Okay. And these are some of the jurisprudence. I think I mentioned them already a while ago. The case of People versus De La Torre, the husband and wife are the culprit here. In the case of People versus Soriano, the insertion of a finger. Okay, and in that case, even the tongue. So even if it is a part of the human body, that is considered in the case of rape through sexual assault. Effect of pardon, since rape is now crimes against person, we have to follow the concept that valid marriage between the parties shall extinguish criminal action. This is also in relation to the provision of Article 344, if I'm not mistaken, okay, which the marriage between the offended party and the offender might extinguish the criminal liability, and even it might terminate the trial of the case. And if the person is sentenced, it will extinguish the criminal liability. Okay? But there is an exemption if it is a gang rape. Okay, kung sino lang po yung pinagkasalan, so yun lang po ang may exempt criminally. The others might be held criminally. So, thank you. I hope that I was given justice to the crime of rape. God bless. See more of the upcoming video presentation on other crimes. If you have requests, topic for discussion, please feel free to message here at my YouTube channel or even in my Facebook account. Again, do not forget to subscribe and to subscribe. Typographical error, no, subscribe without D. And ring the bell so you will be updated. So thank you so much. God bless and keep safe.